I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about 3 reasons your ex is coming back.
We're going to get into it, but before we do, I did want to say that Craig and I are available for coaching sessions. So if you would like to talk about your situation one-on-one with one of us, you can head to the website and book from there.
Yeah, when you're in a breakup, and particularly if you've been in no contact for a while, you really start to doubt things. Mm-hmm. Now, that overwhelming amount of anxiety that we have, especially at the beginning, really can impact our thoughts and our feelings about things. We can get extremely sensitive about even the smallest thing our ex may be doing on social media. And it just makes us absolutely convinced that my ex is the one that's not coming back.
Mm-hmm. And for many of us, our self-esteem takes a hit. So we might have those thoughts of, why would they come back to me? Yep. Why would they come back to this relationship? What motives do they have?
And unfortunately, I hear a lot of people say, well, they heard from this coach or that coach to reach out. It's been 6 months. And I just want to reiterate that I would absolutely not reach out after 6 months, because that is when many of your exes start to come back. Is that not what you see in the calls?
Completely on their own.
Yeah. In other words, you guys are in no contact for 5 months thinking they're never going to reach out. It's done. It's over. But many exes start to reach out around that time. And when you reach out before they have a chance to reach out, it really does hurt the attraction.
Mm-hmm. And it changes the dynamic at that point.
Absolutely. And it's no longer a situation where, they were anxious about losing you. They start to really feel like they're losing you. Now they know they haven't lost you. All of that anxiety is gone, and their attraction level just disappears quickly.
Right. And it's important to remember that their process is completely different. Mm-hmm. So as we get into the reasons as to why your ex is coming back, this is very important, because the first one is attachment. Yeah. And attachment is something that we talk about so often on the channel. Attachment styles, the power of attachment, and we really believe in this. To be attached to someone means something. To let your guard down, to be romantically tied with someone, to trust someone, that takes a lot. And it's not something that with a snap of the fingers can just go away.
It really doesn't. Our bonds are strong. Mm-hmm. And when we have a strong connection with somebody, we're going to remember them forever. We're not going to forget about people that we love or that have loved. And you see it all the time. You hear it in songs. You see it in people ruminate. You hear stories about it. You see people openly talking about their story on social media. They don't forget. It's hard to move on from somebody. That bond leaves such a deep imprint on us that it goes beyond our conscious thoughts and feelings.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And
it's something that takes time to develop. So many of you are afraid that your ex will go out and meet someone new and hit it off, and then they'll ride off into the sunset, as Margaret used to say. Yeah. But it takes time to develop that level of intimacy. And I love this quote that says intimacy is earned, because I really believe that. It's something that both of you have to work at. Both of you have to be vulnerable and willing to be vulnerable. So the fact that the two of you had a significant relationship for any amount of time is important and meaningful.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. But you have to trust that there's a process to a breakup. Now, not everyone is going to hear from their ex. Unfortunately, every situation is so different, and maybe you did some things that really turned them off. Mm-hmm. There are some behaviors that will really scare an ex, like showing up at their house, relentlessly calling them and not respecting their decision. those are major things that are going to scare people. Now, it doesn't mean they're not going to come back around, but it's going to take them more time because that fear, that anxiety that they had, those negative thoughts that they had take more time to go away.
Exactly. We leave an impact, and it really is up to the relationship whether it was a good impact or a negative one. So that's why it's so important, the behaviors after a breakup that we talk so often about.
Yeah. And what we're trying to help you guys do is really respect yourself, respect them, not pressure them, because when you pressure, it makes them not want to come back. Any form of pressure, think about when people pressure you. You don't want to interact with them. You want to run away from them, right? So when you go no reaching out, as we teach, that can shift how they're feeling inside. Now, we often talk about the relief that they have. That's normal because they were unhappy for whatever reason. They wanted to leave the situation for whatever reason. And the pressure that you put on them, because that's our internal desire to stay connected to our loved ones, that pushes them away a bit. That makes them more guarded. But in time, when you don't reach out, you're not looking at their social media, you're not sending any kind of message, then they start to miss you more and more, okay?
And many of you get confused. You'll hear your ex say something along the lines of, oh, I've lost feelings. And you relate that in your mind as they've lost attachment. Those two things are very different. You know, feeling passion and excitement in a relationship versus that deep level of attachment and familiarity you have with someone. So I just want to clarify that.
No, it's so important because just because someone is not feeling like they want to continue the romantic connection in that moment, it doesn't mean that they couldn't reconsider it and that they won't reconsider it. But you've got to really be aware of how your behavior is hurting the dynamic, if it's hurting the dynamic. Because we're always going to put you in a situation that we have seen help people become successful, getting their ex back, healing and growing, and that's where we want you to get to. So instead of obsessively wondering what they're doing, where they're at, if they're coming back, trust the process, but work on yourself. It's so important that you change and you grow in no contact, because many of your exes don't think you're going to change.
Yeah, that's true. For some of you, the breakup might be a little bit different. You might have a breakup where maybe your partner was very avoidant, maybe they were very independent and individualistic, and they wanted to deal with their own issues on their own. So a second reason why you will see exes come back and reconsider the relationship is that they realize that the breakup did not solve their problems.
Yeah, life isn't better.
Yes, yeah. A lot of people end their relationship thinking, oh, this is the thing that's plaguing me. They've almost projected all of their life's issues onto their partner and almost scapegoated their partner. So they realize once that person is not in the mix and whatever maladaptive habits keep happening, whatever issues keep resurfacing, they realize, wait a minute, that wasn't my ex that was causing all of this. In fact, they were a support.
The grass wasn't greener.
Exactly.
So many people fantasize about this new person that they think they're going to be so great and so wonderful and so perfect, and then it falls apart in 3 months, 4 months. A lot of the times, I would say most rebounds don't get past that 5-6 month mark.
Yeah.
And guess what? They start to really think about you, how they've been thinking about you all the time. I just did a coaching yesterday where the ex was telling them, this guy's ex came back strong, just like we said. In fact, I hope he's going to do an email, right? Just like the breakup had just happened. It was right around 5 or 6 months. She's coming on strong. She's vomiting her feelings. And now he's actually losing attraction to her.
Interesting.
Because she is coming on so strong to him.
How the tables have turned.
Yeah, absolutely. He's done the creative healing course. He's working really hard. And so he's like, I am ready for this. And you could tell, and throughout the entire call, now he's like, I've done so much work. Now I'm not even sure how to navigate knowing what I want, who I am, who she is. I'm not sure if I even want this anymore because she's coming on too strong to me.
That's really interesting.
Yeah.
But I think it brings up a very important point, that at a certain point, your ex realizes that they can't face their issues alone. You know, while it does feel nice, okay, I'm not burdening my partner with all of my issues. I ended the relationship. I released them from all of that. At the same time, facing your issues and not having that support, not having someone to talk to, it's very, very difficult. So it makes sense in that situation why she vomited it all out. It seems like she was holding it in that whole time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and she told him, I was thinking about you all the time. In fact, he said something to me on the call, and I immediately was like, wait, what? My brain is always listening for something.
What?
He said something along the lines of, that he interpreted her, meaning that her reaching out, thinking he was going to reject her, was kind of like a Hail Mary attempt. And I was like, oh, wait a minute, Hail Mary, I've never heard this one before. But he's like, well, that's kind of how I interpreted what she means, meaning she had been obsessing about him. He had no idea, and she expected him to reject her.
Interesting.
When she reached out.
So she was like, well, might as well try it anyways.
Yeah. And so she was like so excited, because she even said part of the message is something like, and I'll understand if you never want to talk to me again, or I understand if you're not going to reply. Both of us saw, oh, there's a lot of anxiety in her rejecting him.
Oh, yeah.
And this is part of the reason we say don't ignore your ex when they reach out.
Yeah.
Because had he ignored that, she would have probably never reached out again. Already she was afraid of rejection.
And you might be surprised as to what your ex is up to and what their whole perspective is. On the channel, we try to talk about your ex's experience, your ex's point of view. And sometimes there's situations like that where your ex actually does work on themselves, or your ex actually does go through self-reflection and view things differently. This is actually the third reason as to why exes do come back or reconsider the relationship.
Yeah.
Is they've grown to that certain point to realize that they are more emotionally ready, that they are ready to, be in a partnership again.
Well, the space away really allows them to think more clearly about things. And like you said, realize the problem wasn't you. The problem was them. The problem was situational. The problem was their stress or other environmental factors going on.
And believe it or not, we actually do talk to a lot of dumpers. We talk to a lot of them, and it's very fascinating to me because you will see them say things like, at the time in the relationship, I didn't realize how neglectful I was.
Yes.
I didn't realize how hurtful I was. So sometimes personal growth, your ex's personal growth, might be the thing that causes them to repair the relationship.
And I actually did a call with a woman today. I think you did a call with her months ago. Who's been working really, really hard on herself too. She's doing the creative healing course. In fact, she's going through it again.
Oh, wow.
And I know a lot of you guys are thinking, well, your ex was avoidant. They're not going to work on themselves. Well, I did a call with someone today who is avoidant, and she's working really hard on personal growth. She's gone through the creative healing course, and she's going through it again. And she is so motivated to change and grow. And she's really taken ownership of who she was in the relationship and wants to be the best version of herself if and when he comes back around again.
Yeah, and this does happen. And this is the best case scenario if this happens to you. This is what we hope will happen in all of your situations, is that you're able to grow, your ex is able to grow, and both of you are able to make a better, healthier relationship than what you had in the past. So that is our hope. This video is just an idea of reasons that people reconsider, what could cause them to. Sometimes we start to doubt ourselves, we doubt the relationship and think, did it really matter that much? Was it really that important?
Yeah.
But we decided to make this to reassure you, to give you some of that motivation and encouragement to say, yes, relationships do have a very, very, very important impact on people.
They absolutely do. People will remember you for years. Now, they don't always come back. But you want to put yourself in position to be ready for that. The harder you work, the more motivated you are in no contact. Focus on the things that we teach, like the anxious avoidant trap, how to communicate better, how to become more secure. Those things are all going to pay off regardless of what happens with your ex. Okay? They pay off if you date new people. They pay off if they come back. So that's why you always want to make that your priority, because you can't go wrong when you're focusing on that.
And I will say too, just as a little caveat, I have my little caveats in these videos, but there are some nefarious reasons as to why exes would get back too. So I don't want to say that we're blind to that.
Yeah.
We are just telling you the more common things that we see. And we're hoping that with this information, you can also, in the process of repairing an ex, once you're there, be able to understand their motives and understand where they're coming from and understand attachment, understand their own personal growth. So that's our hope for you, is that if there are any nefarious reasons as to why an ex is coming back, that you will be a lot more aware of it.
Yep, absolutely. So keep up the hard work. Focus on personal growth. Look at getting into therapy. Obviously, we are here to coach you along. If you'd like to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. Coach Victoria is also available for Skype coaching.
I'll be here whenever you need.
Just click on her name at the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.